All right, as I said, there was a top 10 best movies of 2019, and there's always going to be a top 10 worst. Now, as I said last time, this is my opinion based on the movies that I saw. I didn't go and see every movie that I thought was going to be bad because I just didn't want to watch a bunch of bad movies, but there were some that I thought would be okay, and admittedly are just barely okay. Like, they're not exactly, stains on the history of cinema, but they're just really not very good, and that, of course, puts them below movies that I actually enjoy. So, I don't actually have reviews for every single one of these movies because some of them I didn't see until way later, and some of them I just didn't think were worth reviewing. So, the ones that I do have reviews for, I will link those, and hopefully you guys won't unsubscribe after you see this list. So, see you soon. See you soon. Let's get started. Number 10 is The Intruder. It's not really a movie a lot of people saw, and it's why I didn't review it. But when I saw it, I was like, that's gonna be in my top 10 worst movies of 2019 list. It's so bad. The pacing is so whack. The acting is so awful. And I'm like, Megan Good is in this movie. Dennis Quaid is in this movie. What's going on? But I found myself asking that question to myself very often during this movie, actually. I was just like, what's going on? What the fuck's going on? No, you tell me what the fuck is going on. What the fuck is happening? And that's how I felt most of the time when I was watching this. Number 9 is It Chapter 2. I know I said I enjoyed it, but I went back and I watched the first one, and then I watched the second one again. And I was just like, no, the second one doesn't hold a candle. It's so slow. The characters are just kind of meandering about until they come back together for the third act to take place. And there's a lot of cheap jump scares, and it's very CGI reliant, which I know the first movie was also CGI reliant, but the second one is just like, there's a lot that could have been practical, but I don't think they wanted it to be. And then Spider Pennywise is kind of silly. It's not a bad movie. Well, it seems like it is because it's on this list, but it's not like terrible. Like, I'll watch it again if somebody puts it on, but I don't really want it in my own Blu-ray collection, so I'm not gonna buy it. Moving on. Number 8 is Us. Mostly because it loses a lot of charm partway through the story, and it just kind of becomes really paint by numbers, and it gets kind of predictable. And logically, a lot of it just doesn't make any sense. Like, the whole premise is that these people's doppelgangers have been mirroring their actions, and then they go up and they kill them, and they hold hands across America. But there's so many logic flaws. Like, are they cloning the children, or are these clones having children that just turned out to be perfectly like the upper children? Which, as we all know, if the same people have 2 children, they're going to be different. So the clones shouldn't have the same child. And, like, they can't... What if these people go on a road trip the day that the uprising happens? Are their clones supposed to just walk through tunnels all the way to the end of the country? Like, well, that doesn't make any sense. It's summer. Everyone's on vacation. Like, whatever. I really like Lupita Nyong'o, and I like Winston Duke a lot. They made the movie very entertaining, but I just don't really like it that much. I'm sorry. Number 7 is Joker. Yeah. I don't like to talk about this movie for the same reason I don't like to talk about Rick and Morty, because if you like it, you're some sort of pseudo-intellectual higher echelon being that can levitate and, like, use 100% of your brain's capacity. And if you don't like it, then you're just an idiot and you didn't understand it. Your IQ is too low. And it's like, what if I didn't like it because it doesn't do anything new? What if I've seen American Psycho and Taxi Driver and King of Comedy and so many other movies that this movie pulls from and doesn't really put forth anything new on its own, doesn't really belong as a DC movie? If you take out the DC stuff, it's the exact same movie, all the way down to the main character's name being Arthur Fleck, because that's not a DC character name. Like, sorry for wanting something that was at least a little bit comic accurate. If you're making an adaptation of something, the thing that you're adapting should have a place in the adaptation. That just seems obvious to me. I don't need it to be... I'm gonna move on. There's a review for Joker in the description. Check it out, please. Number 6 is Ready or Not. I've never been so into a movie and then felt so blue-balled by the ending. I like subversive endings. There's a lot of them that are done really well. Usual Suspects is a good one. Avengers Infinity War is a good one. But this isn't. It breaks the main rule, and the logic behind it doesn't make any sense. The motives that these characters have for making the decisions that they make is just like, are you sure? I really don't agree with that. And I don't want to spoil it, but I spoiled it in the main review, so if you want to go watch that, go ahead. I liked Samara Weaving a lot. And I liked Alex's brother. I can't remember the actor's name. But those two characters are really interesting. The movie's very funny. Very funny. The premise is very well carried out, but the ending breaks everything. And it really pulled me out of it. Number 5 is Child's Play. I didn't review this either because I didn't think it was worth it. It is just garbage. And Mark Hamill being in it isn't enough to save it. This we learned from both Batman the Killing Joke and Star Wars The Last Jedi. So if Mark Hamill can't save things that are based on the most popular things he's ever done, he can't save Child's Play either. Especially if the script is whack, the acting is whack, except for Aubrey Plaza. Love her. Yeah, there's hardly anything to like about the movie at all, really. It's just horrible. I'm moving on. Number 4 is The Lion King. It's just a soulless retelling of the original story. It's half an hour longer, somehow. And it also feels like it's too short and too long. I've never seen a movie feel rushed and drawn out. Like, well, that's not true. Number 1 is also rushed and drawn out at the same time. But there's no magic in it. Like, all the allure and all the enjoyment, all the soul, all the joy, all the life that's in the original just isn't present in this one. It's like it died before it started, and you're spending the next 2 hours watching it bleed to death. That's how it feels when you watch the new Lion King movie. I'm sorry, there's really just nothing to enjoy about it, except for some of the performances. Not Beyonce, but Donald Glover and Seth Rogen do a great job. Billy Eichner, all right, sure. Chiwetel Ejiofor, Jeremy Irons would have been better, especially because he's still alive. All of the original cast members that are still alive would have been better. That's all I'm going to say. Number 3 is Glass. Man, talk about a drawn-out first and second act and a rushed third act. Oh man, talk about subverting expectations so hard you subvert the expectations that you set up to subvert the other expectations. Man, talk about the worst ending I've ever fucking seen in my life. Oh man. I still don't want to spoil how the movie ends, but I hate it so much. I honestly forgot this movie came out this year. I thought it came out in 2018. It was very early January this year, so that's why I forgot. But it's so bad. And it's not even like the whole movie is bad. The setup, the first 2 acts are very interesting, and it's like, maybe they're going somewhere with this. But then it's like, nope, I was just kidding. It was this all along, and you're stupid, and these characters are where they're at now. And I'm just like, are you? Fam, I just gave you 2 hours of my life. The least you could do is show me at least like a little bit of respect for it. Like, come on, man. That hurts my feelings. The movie, like, legitimately hurt my feelings. Like, it was one of the first reviews I did with the blazer on and everything. I've already moved past the blazer part of my life. I'm at that stage. I'm at this stage. Come on, Glass. Number 2 is Dark Phoenix. Movie's boring. The plot makes no sense. The pacing is horrible. It's a prequel X-Men movie, so it's got a 1 in 4 chance of being decent, like First Class is, or it could be horrible, like Apocalypse is. And it was worse. It was the worst X-Men movie I've ever seen in my life, and I've seen every single one of them. It's worse than X-Men Origins Wolverine. I hate this movie. Like, I've got a review of it. It's pretty spoilery, but I couldn't stand the movie, and everything about it enraged me in a unique way. And I felt cheated. I don't usually feel cheated by movies that I know are going to be bad, but I felt like I wasn't prepared for how bad it was going to be, and for that reason, I felt cheated. Number 1 is the cream of the crop, the worst of the best of the worst. Oh, it's the absolute dumpster fire-ish movie of all 2019. And it is Star Wars The Rise of Skywalker. It is such an unfocused mess that tries to course correct so hard from the last movie while also trying to tell its own story, while also trying to wrap everything up. And it tries to borrow all these moments from Avengers Endgame, and it doesn't work because they didn't put in the effort or the time that takes. Avengers Endgame wasn't the 3rd Marvel movie. It wasn't even the 9th Marvel movie. Or the 11th Marvel movie. Rise of Skywalker was the 3rd in this trilogy, the 9th in this saga, and the 11th total. Still was not enough to earn the things that they go for towards the end of this movie. Nobody's arc is satisfyingly wrapped up. Things are just kind of introduced so that other things can happen. And like I said, there's too many characters that got character bloat. They're just kind of standing around doing things. And it's funny because right before I recorded this video, somebody commented on my my Rise of Skywalker review and said, just because there's more than 4 characters and you can't keep up with that doesn't mean it's got too many characters. You can't watch the movie and tell me that there's not characters that just stand around. Rose Tico, who had a huge part in the last movie, is in this movie for like a minute and a half total. She doesn't have a part. She just kind of stands there the whole time. Even in the final battle, she's just like, I got paid already. It's like, that's not interesting. That's really not good storytelling. It's not visually gripping. None of this movie is visually arresting, especially the 3rd act. Like I said in my review, it's just a bunch of noise. It's really not interesting. I mean, there's parts that are like okay, like visually, and the sound design is great as always because it's a Star Wars movie. But apart from that, there's just nothing to love about this movie. And as that stands, considering how empty it left me feeling, it's my least favorite movie of this entire year. And I saw Dark Phoenix. You know I saw Dark Phoenix. But there goes my top 10 worst movies of 2019. Actually, if you unsubscribe because you don't like my opinion, okay, sure. I'll see you later. I really can't stand people that do like that. You can leave a dislike. I really don't care. But I'd really like to talk about this. Like, if you disagree and you can explain why in a civil fashion, go ahead and do that in the comments. I would love to read them. Also, I think my hair is getting a little too long. Should I cut it or should I keep growing it? If you've made it to this point in the video, comment #grow or #cut, depending on what you think I should do with this beast. And that's pretty much all I have to say. It's been a great 2019, but I'm just about done, and I'll see you guys in 2020.